Dio has quite the presence. Like, way more presence and aura coming out of him than he had in Season 1. I remember how Dio was when I was, binge watching JoJo Part 1 and Part 2. I remember Dio. Dio had this atmosphere about him as a character, but, wow, the beginning of this episode, like the first 3 to 4 minutes of this episode, just that atmosphere with Dio. Dio's scary as fuck. He's really scary because the way he just put the fear of God in Whole Horse like that, it just goes to show you how menacing Dio really is. And that really hypes me up to see what is going to happen later on, because Dio is going to be the final fight. We already know this. It's very obvious that Dio will be the final fight of Part 3 Stardust Crusaders. But I really, really hope we get to see Dio soon, at least in combat or some form or fashion with more dialogue, because every time Dio is on the screen, usually that episode's going to be fucking good. It's going to be really good. And once again, that was true with this episode, because Dio pops up. He's like, if you don't do this, I want to kill you, Whole Horse. That's what he says. And he's like, oh my god, he's getting all scared. Like, those moments when you saw that, like, psychological battle raging on in Whole Horse's head, that's amazing. Like, I don't remember that type of stuff in Part 1 or Part 2 of JoJo. I mean, JoJo was a good series. It's a very good series. I'm not saying Part 1 and Part 2 is not good. I'm just saying, when it came to these past couple episodes and Part 3 of JoJo, there's a lot more psychological battles taking place with our characters, especially with this episode. Seeing how Whole Horse was just thinking in his mind, like, okay, I can take him. He's just by himself. It's a lot better than me trying to tackle, the 4 people at once, Jotaro's group, instead of fighting Dio. And then he found out he was, like, completely wrong after he saw Dio's speed. And that speed, I'm like, whoa! Whoa! That speed of Dio. So, we can get a little bit of clarification of how fast Dio is. Like, we don't know the speed he goes at, but we find out, like, how nimble or, flexible he is. Because there's a bunch of spider webs in this little area that Whole Horse was. And he was at point-blank range of Dio. Like, his gun was almost touching Dio's head. And he was at point-blank range. And there's a bunch of spider webs all over the place. And if you're to move, the spider webs will, be broken and you'll see them fall and stuff like that. Whole Horse in his mind states like, I didn't even see him move. And he was sitting down. And Dio was sitting down with like his legs probably crossed. And he's like reading a book. Dio was sitting down. And he moved so fast, Whole Horse didn't even see him move. And he was just instantly behind him. That's incredible speed. But it goes even further than that. He didn't even break any spider webs. Dio did not break any spider webs, so he moved so fast, he was able to dodge, like, spider webs without breaking any, and then get right behind Whole Horse, without him even seeing it, and reacting to it, like, probably in under a second or two. That is scary. Very scary. Like, Dio, the hype. Oh my god, the hype right now with Dio, with this scene, in this episode. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. Now, I wonder how much of the Pillar Man Dio has. Like, I mean, we know he's kind of like the Pillar Man cars and stuff like that. I wonder if he can do the, like, Pillar Man type stretchy thing. You remember, I forget the name of the dude. The dude when we were first introduced to the Pillar Man on Part 2 of JoJo. Remember the dude? I think his name started with an S. It started with an S. I forget his full name. But it was when we first encountered the Pillar Man. And they were, we saw the feats of how they can, like, stretch and, like, break their bones or whatever, and they can, like, fit through vents and stuff. I wonder if Dio is the exact same way. But regardless of that, the things we find out also with this episode is that Dio's body is still not under his command. The Joestar's body is still resisting him because the left side doesn't heal as fast as the right side. And that's going to be his weakness. That really is probably going to be Dio's weakness at the end of this season. It's very obvious that's going to play a major role in Dio's defeat. Because the left side doesn't heal as fast. And you saw it was incredibly slow. I mean, it was healing, but it was incredibly slow. Like, let's say this wound, like if I had a wound on my finger, okay? It would take like 5 seconds to heal on the right side. But the wound on the left side takes about maybe 20 to 30 seconds. So yeah, there's an incredible time gap difference between the healing rates of both sides of Dio's body. So I wonder if he's going to overcome this before we get to see Jotaro go up against him. But anyways, getting on to the other factors of the episode. The episode is Whole Horse trying to gain some determination and courage to face against Jotaro and everybody else, and he has it to where Boingo finally makes a reappearance and comes back to avenge his brother and helps him out, and majority of the episode's kind of like Whole Horse trying to figure out if the power of Boingo's stand is legit or not, if it's accurate. And so yeah, that's mainly the point of the episode. It is a great episode set up for next week. I can't wait to see what Whole Horse is going to do in the situation he's at. I wonder if, you know, Jotaro and all them are really going to get on the ground with blood underneath him. Like, it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. So I wonder how that's going to happen. Tell me your thoughts. How do y'all feel about this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moments about it? You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.